Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Monday, November 3rd meeting of the Board of Aldermen. The first order of business is minutes of the previous meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
So we have a motion. It's been seconded. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is public comment, where members of the public are invited to address the board on matters not on the agenda. We've distributed a handout that explains how this portion of the meeting operates per the board's rules of order. In order to speak, I ask that you raise your hand. When I call on someone, they should step to the podium, state their city or town of residence before speaking. Only the person with the floor may speak. When they finish, please return to their seat, and if a board member wishes to speak, they can then ask for the floor. If I see none, I'll then call on the next member of the public. I don't want to put any kind of time cap on people's public comments. It's important to me that everybody has sufficient opportunity to be heard. I just ask that speakers be mindful that we do have agenda items to get to after public comment. 3 people reached out to me about public comment. So the first is the Vermont Youth Project. If you want to step up. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Sarah Cosgrove. I'm here with my partner Heather Brouillard, and we're partners for prevention, representing the Rutland Youth Coalition. And the Rutland Youth Coalition, as Bill knows here, is a collective coalition of youth-focused organizations here in Rutland. We have been meeting regularly since before COVID, and this is part of the Vermont Youth Project Icelandic approach. So over the summer, we had some great interns that we worked with in the community that went out to various groups, and they really extrapolated from the data that was gathered from the Youth Behavior Survey and the Vermont Youth Project Survey that really the youth were expressing, and teenagers, that they didn't feel like they belonged, a sense of hopelessness. And we really wanted to dig in more as a group to be like, why are you feeling like this? What can we fix? Because let's be honest, our youth are our future, and really the future of Rutland. So here is some of the information that we gathered from the groups over the summer. Safe transportation was one of the topics. And another one that they wanted was really a teen center or place that they can go and hang out, where they can just go and be silly kids together. And also another piece was a resource hub, somewhere that they could be connected with the resources. They know that there is mental health help out there, but they don't know how to get directly connected to it. So the Vermont Youth Project, the Rutland Youth Project or Coalition came forth together to really identify that as a topic of area that we wanted to work on. So our goal, really coming to you today, is to create a sustainable teen space resource hub and work with the community for a progression skate park that would be run by the youth, that being one piece of it. The program choices are all going to be guided by the youth preferences. For interest, if there was an art class, we would get a community art member to come and be able to present for them. This resource hub would be available to connect youth with the various arrays of available referrals and connections in the community. So we're working with all our partners, Boys and Girls Club, Come Live Outside, Friends of the Skate Park, Rutland Rec, the public schools, to really come to you to say that there is not many resources out there from the ages 13 years old and older. We put together this great data, and you can look at it. The teens have some real concerns. So we want to put together that teen center and come together. Our ask is you coming together as a community to provide us with that community and municipal support. I know we've got some great advocates here for the youth, but this needs to be something that is owned by the city, supported by the city, because if it's just one organization leading it, it will fall apart. So our ask is the community and municipal support, as well as making this a community-owned project, that we all own a piece of it for our youth, for our teens. We also are asking for financial support for this sustainability. And we are asking that we be considered to go to committee to discuss this further in regards to having a portion of the Rutland opiate settlement money allocated towards the youth and the future and the sustainability of a youth center, but also making that point that Rutland cares about our youth. I mean, they very loudly spoke that they don't feel like they're cared for, they don't belong, they don't have a place. And I think that it would be our responsibility to this population that was that was very negatively affected by opiate use and disorder in the community. So my ears are getting all hot right now and I'm nervous, so I ask that you consider bringing this to committee to discuss further the support of a youth center.
Alderwoman Davis.
Refer to Recreation Committee. Second.
So we have a motion to refer to Recreation. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Alderman Gillum.
Would you bring the youth to that committee meeting?
Most definitely. I tried dragging them tonight and they're kicking and screaming. That is our goal, that this is youth-led. We're there supporting it and we're following their voice to empower them because they're the next leaders. Thank you.
Alderwoman McClure.
I see here that you have a projected opening date of summer 2024. Now, looking for a space as well, I see outlined in here, that estimate is rather bold. Do you have other
We
outside
have a
funding?
space already. We are working very closely with the Boys and Girls Club and using a piece of that space. So I think we may get sooner than that, quite honestly. Really what we're looking for is that support to be able to staff it adequately and take those next steps.
So, thank you very much.
All right, we have a motion to refer. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Kelly Cross. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Kelly Cross, and I live in Rutland City. I am here tonight to talk about the crime in the city. Crime has increased significantly, and I find it extremely disturbing that the leaders aren't doing anything, and when community members are asking questions, they're being stonewalled. The mayor held a town hall meeting but didn't take questions from the public directly. The questions that were read were clearly nothing from the public. It was clear that it was a dog and pony show. As far as things the Board of Aldermen can do, they can create ordinances against aggressive panhandling. They can create ordinances against the homeless people setting up encampments on public and private property. I understand that the ACLU sues pretty much everybody for everything, but being that you guys are the leaders in this community, you need to be the leader and fight those fights for us. Just because someone threatens to sue doesn't mean you back down, it means you go harder. It was utterly insulting that we were told at the town hall meeting that we just need to lock our doors and get brighter lights and we won't be victims of crime. There are members of this community who are out patrolling our streets just because, they're out patrolling our streets because our police officers are so overworked and understaffed. And the fact that the mayor called them vigilantes is ridiculous and horrendous. These are hardworking people who love this community and who are trying to do what's right and what's best for this community. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who's out there is perfect and that they should be out there. I'm just saying that we have large amounts of citizens who love this community so much that they're risking their own lives to be out there on patrol. And your response, Mr. Mayor, is that they're vigilantes? It should be, come help us. Let's set up a way to figure this out. Instead, all you said was to go to Project Vision, which, by the way, most of Project Vision's meetings are held at the times where normal people are working. These people aren't vigilantes. They are concerned citizens for our community who are doing what anyone in this community has the right to do, which is to protect their community. As far as Project Vision, it has been around for years, and yet there are still no good results. If anything, things have gotten worse. Commander Prouty sat up there on the stage during town hall and told us how he likes to go under the River Street Bridge and hold their hands and sing Kumbaya, which is great. You want to hold hands with the variants, the drug addicts, and the crime people? Fine. But how about we do something to stop the crime against us taxpayers? Us taxpayers are overtaxed, overworked, and we're tired. We are really upset that not only are our lives at risk every day in this community, but our property is at risk and our neighbors are at risk. And most of the people just seem to try to blame the victims for not locking their car doors. I understand you want to put the pressure on Montpelier. I agree. Montpelier deserves the pressure. The laws they have created are horrible and unsustainable and have created this mess. However, the leaders of this community need to stand up and do something against the crime. The mayor has now just showed us a new budget for next year, and in that budget, he talks about giving pay raises to the police officers. I agree, the police officers are underpaid. However, if he truly cared about the police, he would have looked at an MOU with the sheriff's department on an all-call basis to help patrol our city streets. He could have used that $535,000 in surplus from last year's police budget to do so. Instead, he used it for 6 new positions in City Hall that are all unnecessary and unneeded. The fact that he thinks us taxpayers can afford to continue to pay more and receive less is absolutely asinine. People are going to take matters in their own hands, and things are going to get worse. And you, Mr. Talbot, when you spoke to me on the phone, not only was your tone demeaning and rude, but the fact that you told me that I couldn't be placed on the agenda is a complete farce, and you know it. You also stated I was not allowed to ask questions during the open rail segment. I think you seem to forget that you work for the public, and us as the public, we're pissed off. And by you trying to silence us, it just pisses us off more. People are going to take matters into their own hands, and things are going to get worse if you don't show the community that you guys are fighting for us. You are supposed to be supporting community members, but instead you are ignoring our pleas for help. And the blood will be on your hands. Be leaders, do the right thing, and stop stonewalling us citizens. We deserve better, and you know it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have Bob Perro.
I was actually kind of not really realizing I was going to be up here tonight. I thought I was going to get to make that choice, but we can come at you guys with a hammer and try to pound something through, and that's just not the way to do it. It's ridiculous. I think Kelly kind of hit the nail on the head, but I think what we need to understand is that we are all part of the same community, and I think that one of the biggest problems that we have right now is people are tired, they're frustrated, they're hurt, they don't feel like they're being listened to. And honestly, the best thing in the world that ever happened, the town hall was a farce. I mean, we can all agree to that, or at least the majority of us can, because the thing was, a town hall entices people to ask questions and get answers. It's a back and forth. That's what it's supposed to be. And actually, Chief Baker, numerous years ago, did one down at the House Center, and I was present at that one, and we were all allowed to speak. And we kind of got some stuff done. We got some answers, and we felt like we were being listened to. And realistically, I think that what everybody needs to realize, no matter how angry we get, we got to take a step back, realize that these laws are made in Montpelier. But we also, as a community, need to know that the people that we elected are there for us. They're willing to listen to us, even if it's kind of one of those things where you're like, hey, it's not my job. I'm not supposed to do it. I'm not, whatever. Let us feel like we're being listened to. Let us feel like we have a voice. Let us feel like something's being done. Because right now, to be honest with you, I'm not afraid of myself. I mean, I gotta be frankly honest, I've never had anybody come up to me and threaten me or come up to me and try to take something from me. I don't know, maybe I'm imposing, maybe I'm not too imposing, I'm not really sure. But I have an elderly father-in-law who has Parkinson's. I have a mother-in-law who has dementia that she's been battling for years. They still live by themselves. My concern is for them. My concern is trying to take care of them. My concern is looking at these police officers that are worked doubles, triples, however many shifts, because we don't have the help that we need. And we're talking about going to a pool, and we were assured by the chief that we were going to be able to hire these officers, and he knew if we got this $1.8 million that's actually going through that we'd be able to hire the officers. My concern with that is we haven't been able to find them yet. Why do we think we're going to find them by throwing $1.8 million at it? And then, on top of that concern, my other one is, if you're asking us as taxpayers for $1.8 million for the police department, we will back the police department as much as we can. But trying to get blood from a stone, we are definitely overtaxed. There was a 3% tax increase this year. You're asking for another tax increase to do this. And how do we know, if you haven't been able to fill those slots, that you're going to fill them this time? And is that 1.8 going to wind up being surplus that gets thrown into other positions that may be deemed unnecessary? Listen to the people. That's all we want, honestly. I think that half of this stuff could be completely eradicated, and I think that most of the people that are here wouldn't even be here if they felt like they had a voice. And the problem is I feel like they're being stifled. I feel like nobody's been able to talk, nobody's been able to say anything. And I understand that he's not here, I haven't seen him here or anything, but the mayor, numerous people have reached out to him numerous times, I being one of them. And only recently, when this town hall meeting was supposed to come out, was I actually contacted back. And this includes as he was running, when I had questions for him, and after he actually got into office. So, huh?
Sitting
Oh, well, hey, okay, I wasn't paying attention. So great, he's here. So wonderful, then he can actually hear exactly what I have to say. And I understand this isn't a give or take or anything like that, but I will tell you right now, you guys are gonna do a hell of a lot better where you are right now if you start listening to the people. Even if it's just someone to vent, even if someone wants to call you and vent and say, we don't like what's going on, we need to change this. We understand. Every single person, I'm hoping here, understands that these laws are up in Montpelier. These are what need to be changed. And one law before I leave right now that you all need to pay close attention to is S27. S27 is a cashless bail law. If that law is passed, things aren't going to get better. They're going to get horrifically worse. And people are not going to be held, and they're just going to be kind of on a revolving door system, which we have right now. The other thing at the town hall that I heard, I'm trying to remember as I'm going along, we need to have more justices. We need to have more judges. We need to have more of this, more of that. Well, what good is more judges going to be listening to the cases if the laws aren't there for these cases to be tried? Doesn't really make much sense. It really doesn't. I mean, honestly, it all falls on the legislators. And I myself personally wrote a letter to Tom Burdett, and I wrote a letter to Terry Williams thanking them, because even though they're underneath the supermajority up in Montpelier, they're still fighting for us. Tom Burdett took full responsibility for everything going on in the legislature that's causing this problem right now. He stood up. And you know what? I respect him for standing up. I don't blame him fully for it, but he took responsibility for it. And Terry Williams opened his door and said, anybody has any ideas, anybody has any thoughts, call me. And to me, as a taxpayer in the city of Rutland, in the state of Vermont, having one of my representatives actually say, please call me or contact me, meant more to me than anything. Just remember that going forward.
Thank you. Well, I'm happy to listen to as many people who want to speak for generally as long as they want to speak. So who would like to go next?
My name's Henry Heck, Rutland City resident. Appreciate the folks coming here today to stand up and give their opinions about how they feel. It's not easy to do. A question I have directly for the Board of Aldermen with the spending or the new budget that's come out, if they're requesting $1.8 million for the chief and his guys. That $1.8 million does not get spent. I would like someone here within this board to make a motion that that money will go back to the taxpayers. It is not to be used to fund whatever projects whoever may see fit to be doing out there and stuff. The money this year that was going to go back to the taxpayers did not. So I think it's a farce that you come here and you ask us to keep digging deeper and deeper into our pockets to pull this money out. But I'm going to hold you accountable today, and I want someone to tell me that money's not spent, this guy here doesn't get to spend it. That someone else is going to give it back to the taxpayers, plain and simple. That's my one question. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Come right up.
Hello, everybody. My name is Melissa West, and I am a resident of West Rutland. I do have family still here in Rutland. I come to Rutland every day to do errands, help take care of my mother, my niece, and whatever else I have to do. As a mother of 2 young girls, I no longer feel safe coming here. I no longer feel safe walking out my front door, even in West Rutland, and that is a place that I pretty much grew up most of my life. Knowing that these criminals are out here on these streets and able to do the things that they do and really get a slap on the hand is sickening. To touch more on the crime, mostly, I guess, in the Rutland area or surrounding, these criminals know that they can get away with most of what they do. It's clear to the public. Everybody knows it. Everybody sitting in here knows it. Slap on the hand, have another court date. They offend over and over again just to hit the courtroom and to get the case turned out another 40 to 60 days to gather more information, chat with the client, offer treatment, and so on. Drug court sounds like a joke to me. I don't know if anyone's ever listened in on a drug court case, hearing, whatever you want to call it. But I know if you make all your UAs and you come in on time, you get full-size candy bars and gift cards. I think maybe if the judges could tighten a little bit up even on where they can, as in their attitude towards these people, maybe that would change a hair. Maybe not. But it's worth a try, if you ask me. Now, I've already gotten way off my little paper here because I'm nervous. But what I'm going to simply say is this. If things don't change, like the other speakers have said, we're going to start taking it into our own hands. Then there's going to be problems much bigger. People are going to be sent to jail probably for sticking up and standing, their grounds. And I don't think that's, I don't find that right at all. I want whatever laws need to be passed, or whatever it is, to be done so that my kids, our kids, can grow up in a safe environment. My children and your children should not have to worry about going to the grocery store and seeing an overdose, or seeing someone pulling a knife on somebody, or whatever it is. People should not have to go to bed at night wondering who's going to be on their porch stealing their packages, or what's on their porch, or so on and so forth. It's just not right. If you have no law that states that people can't get into your vehicle because it's not, verbally announced, what do we have to do? Put no trespassing signs in our windows? How is that going to keep these people out? Because it's not going to, right? We all post them on our house. Some people post them on their house. People still break into their homes. And what is it? You got to be cornered in your home. Or if you have an exit, you have to take it because you can't defend yourself. Not a threat to anybody, I'm just saying. People like myself, if you come into my home, you may not leave, and if you do leave, you may be limping or maybe worse, I don't know. Whatever it is just needs to stop, and I just want to say that I commend Kelly, because none of this seemed to have been brought up before Kelly and others started emailing the mayor. I also emailed the mayor. Don't believe I got that response. I will check when I get home, though, because I have not checked it. But we need people to stand up for us, for our children, for our elderly people who are getting attacked to go get a pizza. I mean, if you can't even go out and get a pizza, then what has the world come to, right? So that's where I'm going to end that. I just think people need to listen. And if the people that run this town, city, whatever, can't stand up for the people who are here to say we've had enough, then why do you work for us? Thank you.
Thank you. Come right up.
My name is Kim Heck. Henry's my husband. I'm very proud of him as my husband. I want to mention, if we just think back to what Bob said about not feeling heard, respected, cared about as a community, I sat at the town hall the other night, and I'm going to address this to you. And I can't tell you how many times I have heard about the smirk on your face when you sat up there on at the Paramount stage, and I just sat here and watched your face when my husband spoke, you should be ashamed of yourself. That smirk that you put on your face means you don't respect us, means you don't listen to us, you don't care about us. You need to go. You need to be out because you only have your agenda, yours, not anybody else in this room unless they're on your side or they voted for you or you paid to put them in a position. You should be ashamed of yourself. And I'm also going to talk to a couple of people up here. I know that 2 women in this room were told, one was called at texted at 11:15 at night by a board member, and you know who you are, and told that they should not be speaking on whatever forum they were on about the money that was taken from the police department, surplus, and used, which I have not heard a yes or a no, if the mayor took money from the surplus and hired 6 positions or 3 positions or 2. And that person was told she should not be saying anything like that. 11:15 at night, she was texted and told not to say that. And I know Kelly, unless Kelly's lying, and she put it in print, she was told by the board president that she could not ask any questions and she could not speak for longer than a minute. So if that is true, you need to be ashamed of yourself. And now I'm going to directly ask you, did you or did you not take money from the police surplus and hire new positions that you did not need, such as an assistant, because you're so damn busy? I would like a yes or a no. I think everybody would. That way we know from your mouth if you did before the budget gets passed. And if you did it in a year that you did not even plan. That budget was already done. You had no right to take that money unless you think it's yours. So I would like an answer to that question. And if you don't answer it, I'll have my answer.
If you'd like to yield the floor to the mayor, he can choose to step to the podium and speak.
I'll definitely step away to listen to this. And I won't smirk at you. There it is, right there. There it is.
So thank you for the question. And I think it's pretty well documented at this point. At the end of the year, after the year was closed and the money was spent, there was a surplus. I think it was close, don't quote me, close to $980,000 between revenue funds and leftover funds that weren't spent. So revenue funds that weren't calculated for and leftover funds that weren't spent. And of that 980, 460 of that was allocated towards a total of 4 positions, one of which is the DPW commissioner, one of which is a engineering technician. There is the executive administrator for my office, yes, and then the last one I'm blanking on right now. I'll think about it in a second. So zoning administrator. Thank you very much. So there you go. That's the answer.
Thank you.
Do I need to come back up to ask him a question again?
Our rules don't allow for a Q&A, like a back and forth like this, where people can speak.
Okay, so the forum that was at the Paramount, that was a town hall, which should have been a Q&A.
I can't speak to that, but
So
I
I
can.
can't come here and ask a question.
You can ask a question. You did ask a question.
And I'm going to come up here because I know this is where I'm supposed to stand. You needed an executive assistant when there hasn't been one before, when bigger cities don't have them, and we are in the middle of a crisis. You needed an executive assistant. Oh, that's right. It's because it's not that easy, right? That's what you said the other night. It's not an easy job. There's more crime now that you're the mayor and you have an assistant.
it will be documented that you have no idea how irritating it is that you smirk like that. How smug can you be to do that? Again, disgustingly disrespectful. If you can't be in public without putting a smirk on your face when people are literally pouring their hearts out to you, you think that's acceptable? There's your mayor.
Who would like to speak next? Go right ahead.
Hi, I'm Rob Tall. I'm a Rutland City resident. If you haven't been mugged, crime still affects you. If your house hasn't been broken into yet, crime still affects you. And I want to disagree with some of the speakers that said things will be, taken in our own hands. It already has been. How many businesses have left the city? How many people have moved to other places? And this is just going to keep going on. Every one of your budget years, I used to be a school board member, so I know what it's like to come up with a budget. Your budgets are just going to get harder and harder to pass because your tax base is dwindling and people are voting. They vote when they leave. And this is something, it's a serious matter. Maybe you don't know somebody that's been mugged, but you know a business that you used to go to that no longer exists in Rutland. So that's something that really needs to be taken into account. And thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board on items not on the agenda? Go right ahead.
My name's Richard, and I'm a resident of Rutland. I'm gonna make it short because I get a little nervous. So you guys talk about eyes and ears. There's been some incidents where I don't have a problem with police, but we try to call them, and it's like they don't show up, or they kind of just blow it off. Kind of hard for me to put this out there, but you're looking at a felon. You're looking at somebody who's on probation right now for different reasons. But when I go to work, come home, I go somewhere else and I come back and my door's almost been broken into. One person who's already in jail, plus 2 others, tried to break into my car. A lot of people start seeing that, but it's all over. Well, something else I heard is that, this whole patrolling thing, it's stalking. No, it's not stalking. Police don't have a lot of time to drive around all night. I get off at 5 o'clock. Sometimes I'm up till 3 in the morning driving around. People ain't supposed to be in places they're not supposed to be. Video. It's like you say, eyes and ears. Well, here it is. You got a bunch of people out here taking videos, pictures, and it's like it still kind of doesn't mean nothing. Well, we're just going to keep doing it. But, it needs to change because people are tired of it, and I'm tired of it. I'm a felon. There's not much I can do about it except keep taking videos, pictures, So, legislators need to start changing the laws. I come from a different state where laws down there are way different. Down there, the citizens actually have more. People listen, the cops do more. I've only been here since January, and I'm kind of ashamed.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Go ahead.
Anyone that knows me knows I do not talk in public, so this is huge for me. I'm a female business owner in Rutland. I've been at the same business for 22 years, and then I took it over 2 years ago. For 22 years, we've always been able to be at our office with the doors open on a nice day. We can't do that anymore. We have to lock our doors. I don't know what kind of business I'm losing. You know, I see people come to my camera, and I can't catch them because they're gone already. You know, we're trying to sell Rutland. You know, that's our job. I'm a realtor. And I can't do that. People can't come into my business. You know, I've had one time I was there by myself, the door was open, that was the only time. And somebody came in and I went out to make a coffee. They were there wiping out all our coffee bar stuff, everything. And I told him he had to leave. And he just kept staring at me, like confronting me, very confrontational. And I had to call, you know, text for help for people across the road for me to come get this guy out. And I shouldn't have to do that. You know, I was there by myself. Another time I was there, and this just the other day, maybe, well, like 2 weeks ago, this guy came in. And he had a Laffy Taffy bar, and he said, I'm here, God sent me here to tell you to make sure you have your things in order. And then he leaves. So that was threatening. I called my friends at the sheriff department. They just made note of it. You know, I got videos of a girl tweaking out my deck at midnight and it looked like she was gonna go to the bathroom on my deck, but I sounded my alarm, she left. And then another couple were fighting about 3 o'clock in the morning and over by my garbage cans because they lost a hit. The girl lost the hit. So they were fighting, and she's like, no, I'll share it with you. I mean, this stuff goes on, and my young daughter lives upstairs by herself. You know, I can't, what am I supposed to do now? I put in the bright lights, Green Mountain Power lit up my parking lot like the football field, and now I just see what's going on. It's like it attracted them. So I don't know what else to do. I have no trespassing signs. I have private property. You know, my surveillance camera things are up. So I don't know what else to do. And, you know, again, I'm a business owner. I'm a female business owner. I'm there a lot by myself in the afternoon, late at night. So there's got to be some kind of ordinance we can do. The other thing is, the other night at 1 o'clock in the morning, my backyard camera, this one really crosses the line. My backyard camera went off because there was a motion in the back of my backyard. Somebody was out there with a flashlight. That's all fenced in where my dogs go. So now I just ordered no trespassing signs for there because if somebody lets my dogs out, there will be trouble. I will take it upon myself. So that's my notice.
My name's Liam. I live here in Rutland. So, as Rich said, there are some of us that do patrol. And we are out for hours, going up and down streets, all around Rutland. We see people, we try to deter them, we try to help out, try to say, hey, they're over here, or this is what they're doing, or take videos, take pictures. It's gotta stop. We have kids here. I'm sure all of you have kids, grandkids, stepkids. I have stepkids that I can't even let go out back to put trash in a dumpster because I have people that live out back who have traffic in left and right. We call the cops. They do nothing. I get they're busy. I understand. They're understaffed. I get it. But when is enough enough? I hate to sound like a broken record from everybody else that has spoke, but when is enough enough? Like other people have said, we are going to start taking things into our own hands. Again, when is enough enough? You guys, help, please. We are asking for help. You guys are, help. Enough is enough. Seriously.
name is Mark Courier. I live here in Rutland. You know, it's really starting to get sickening when you actually see a deal, whatever. You know, we call the police. It's already done by the time they get there. But, you know, I'm actually to the point where, like he said, you know, can't have our kids come out. I have a son that is autism. He doesn't know it, you know, his brain is like a little baby. Okay? Somebody hurts my son, I'm not threatening, but I will kill him. I had enough. And then when the police have enforcers and let the people go, but when we have to call the fucking state and they have to take over and they actually do the job, it's pretty sad. I'm not paying my taxes for the fucking city for their cops not to do a thing. I'd rather pay the sheriff's department, state police. At least they know how to get done. I have cameras, yeah, I catch them. Cops don't do nothing. When they come back on my property, believe it, I've been to jail. I don't care. Ain't calling names, but
Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? Seeing and hearing none, let's take a short recess and then we'll regroup and we'll get on with the rest of the agenda.
They think we're not doing anything? Oh, I got another answer for that.
All right, we'll reconvene. Mr. Heck has asked to make one more public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had one request. I understand that Alderwoman Savage is not here, but she is the chair of Charter and Ordinance. I have a request to refer the issue of elected and appointed officials to the Charter and Ordinance Committee, please, if I could.
So moved.
Can I get some clarification on what the referral is in regard to?
It's in regards to elected and appointed officials.
Okay. So we have someone's moved the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I think Billy
It's been seconded. Any discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none? Yeah, Alderwoman Hooker?
Again, Henry, can you just explain
Yeah.
what you mean, or what's the point of the referral?
It's to have a discussion about appointed and elected officials.
Alderwoman
How
McClure?
it's done, or what the procedure is, or
How it's done.
what the procedure is?
Is what Cheryl's asking.
It's just in regards to a charter change in regards to elected and appointed officials.
A proposal
I'm
you're
wanting
bringing
to know if the board has an interest in having that discussion in committee.
Alderwoman McClure?
I guess, Mr. Heck, my question is, what changes are you proposing for when we make this motion, if we make this motion when into committee? I guess I'm having a hard time understanding, much like my peers.
So I was trying to allow the board to have this discussion in a committee type of atmosphere. If you'd like to have it in open session here, that's completely up to you. But I was requesting to have the issue of appointed elected officials referred to Charter and Ordinance.
All right. Any further discussion? Alderman McCann.
I'm not, like everybody else, not really sure what the specific ask is. I might be able to theorize, but without a specific need for it to go, I don't know that it would be a worthwhile meeting to just sort of discuss what's already on the books, unless we've been sort of shown that there's something that needs to change. Or
Okay.
If I may.
Alderwoman Davis.
And I can ask, I'm assuming. So at one point, several years ago, this board had the discussion of changing positions. I'll say, for example, the treasurer, that it was no longer elected, it was appointed. And that discussion happened because there was some concern about people with the appropriate education to be in that position. At the time, rather than just, anybody could run for treasurer. I'm just using that as an example. And win, but not necessarily have the abilities to fulfill the duties and responsibilities. So this board had a discussion, and it went out to the voters at one point, and there was a small group behind it that was against it and was quite vocal. And it was at that time, I believe, the treasurer and the assessor. I want to remember. Bill's shaking his head, yes. So I'm assuming it's something to the same fact to revisit some of that, whether these should be elected positions or appointed positions.
That very well could be.
Okay.
Any further comments or questions from the board? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
no.
No.
All right. Okay, let's vote again. All those in favor, raise your hand. I couldn't tell how many people said aye. So 4 in favor. Opposed? So motion fails.
So I just want to be clear, Gordon, when you're writing this article, that these folks here in this elected official of our capacity are not allowing the majority or an electoral type of question go to the voters. So what you people are saying is you know more than the voters. You basically don't want to allow a potential question to go to the voters. That's what you just stated here tonight. Do you understand that, Ms. McClure?
Please address me, Mr. Adams.
Just asking a question. I just want to make sure that they understand the question.
Sure.
But also that does not have to go to committee. By rights, a petition can be gathered and any question can be placed on the ballot.
Absolutely.
The board understands that as well, too, correct?
Correct.
If I may.
Attorney LaChance?
Sorry,
Mr. Heck, it would just help if the board actually knew what the question was that was to be referred to the committee. I don't believe it is the intention of this board, intentionally or otherwise, to deny the voters the right to vote on something. And as you correctly stated, you absolutely can garner a petition. And if that's the way you'd wish to go, if you don't wish to share what it is you're sending to committee this evening, we will gladly wait for that question at that point in time.
I'll take that under advisement, Attorney LaChance. I appreciate your comment. Thank you.
All right. Thank
Any
you,
other
Mr. Heck.
questions? We're all set? You know how to get a hold of me, Gordon.
All right, we'll move on to communications from the mayor.
Okay, good evening. A couple of technical items tonight. First, I have an item for executive session on the agenda. I request that when you get to additions and deletions to the agenda, that you move it to the end of the meeting as is customary.
Very good.
I'd like to ask for a motion to untable the nominations for the Rutland Redevelopment Authority and the Board of Health.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion to untable the nominations for the Rutland Redevelopment Authority and the Board of Health, and it's been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And I'd entertain a motion to circulate the ballot box.
So moved.
I didn't finish yet, Bill. I'd entertain a motion to circulate the ballot box for Matt Whitcomb's nomination to the Board of Health.
So moved.
Second.
All right, there's been, the motion's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Very good. We can do the other motions now too and just do them one by one. Well, I don't want to confuse people, so let's just finish this. Do you want to continue?
Yeah, that'd be great. And then just flag me down.
Yeah.
And I'll try to pay attention. So you'll see you received your budget on your desks this evening. This is the budget that I have submitted to the Board of Aldermen for review, and I ask that this be referred to the appropriate committees for individual review of each segment.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion to refer the mayor's proposed budget to the appropriate committees for review. It's been seconded. Any discussion on the referral? Alderman McCann.
Being the first time to this, is there sort of a standard set of committees that all the segments go to, or will we decide that?
There is.
Okay.
I have a list here. Do you want me to read it? It's quite long.
No, that's okay. If I can.
If I may
that'd be
ask
good.
if you could email it to us?
Sure.
Unless you have enough copies. If we could
Absolutely.
email it.
Can I ask you to email it?
Yes.
Since I got it from you this evening. Yes, the clerk will email it out to everyone, but it breaks down by each committee chair. Alderwoman Davis chairs Public Safety and Finance. Some get referred there. Alderman Gillum chairs Recreation and Public Works. Several get referred there. And then Alderwoman Taddeo chairs General and CED, and several get referred to. There'll be a
And
series.
you're all welcome to come, and I encourage you to come to every meeting. There's a lot to learn.
Yes.
When you're doing your first.
I would hope that all aldermen attend all of them. And then the final budget meeting will be December 14th. Alderman Gillum?
And so you know that Public Works is a two-night deal because it's such a large budget. We usually do the general Public Works, and then we do sewer and water the next day.
I'd entertain a motion to circulate the ballot box for the nomination of Sheena Fisher to the Board of Health.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion, it's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. So the nomination of Matt Whitcomb to the Board of Health passes 6 yes, 3 no.
Matt, do you want to say anything before we move on?
Just thank you for my appointment to the Board of Health. I know you guys have a pretty steep challenge in front of you, or we do as a city, and really the levers we have available to us to pull to address some of our challenges are limited. This may be one of the best ones that we have. So I'm looking forward to diving in, getting to work, and really doing what needs to be done for the community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so before I dive into a quick review on the Public Safety Town Hall, I do want to say to some of the comments tonight, first off, and I did say this at the Public Safety Town Hall, but if for some reason you have not gotten a response from me, and I've been scouring my email and voice messages again to see if there's anything I missed, please message me again to all those in the public. I am I'm sorry if I have not gotten your message, but I have responded to every message that I can find so far. So please continue to reach out to me, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. That is my goal, is to communicate with everyone in the community out of respect. And to that point of respect, I mean no disrespect to anyone, Henry or his wife or anyone for that matter. I hope to treat all of the citizens of this community and other communities with full amount of respect and listen to every word they have to say, whether I happen to agree with them or not. I tend to smile a lot, and if that's mistaken as a smirk, I apologize. But even in the toughest of times, I have a smile on my face to try to get through things, and I apologize for any misconception that may have caused. But my goal is truly to respect those who live in our community and participate in our community and have issues with our community to try and resolve those issues. A quick update on the Public Safety Town Hall. I want to thank everybody who came down to participate on the board, came down to participate in the audience, and especially those from the state in our administrative positions. The governor showed up to Rutland to listen to our challenges on public safety. And that's a big deal. It's a big deal to be a city that is now the 5th largest population-wise, to have real challenges in our public safety space, and to have the governor come and sit and listen, not just to a panel of people answering questions that were submitted from the public, but to listen to that public as well, the best possible. So we want to thank him for coming down, as well as sending his staff, and as well as everybody on that panel and the people in the room that night. That was a great turnout. I think we heard a lot of really important things about where the challenges are, and we'll continue to move forward on that. I want to thank this board. As many of you that could come did, and it was great to have you there. And despite the comments we heard tonight, I do think this board is working very hard for its community, as I believe I am working hard for our community as well. I think every single decision that you make is with the best interest of our city in mind. So thank you for being there as well, and thank you for participating on behalf of the people that you represent. It's very much appreciated. I want to think about, as we move forward into next steps, what we need to do both legislatively and administratively. The legislative question is what laws can we make? What things can we change? Right? We talked about how in the bail reform, changing the bail because of what bail is supposed to be used for, changing bail from $200 to a bigger amount may not be possible, but changing one sentence in that bail reform from saying, a failure to appear versus failure to, or the ability to flee. If we can change that back to failure to appear, we can use it as the tool that it's designed to be. And I think that's to get people to show up, to be, essentially to have their cases heard. And that's very important. Alderman Davis.
If I may.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I agree 100%, but I think we have to do that with numbers, because I'll defer to Cheryl and Larry, who have served in Montpelier, to know that we're not the big boys up there.
That's right.
And we need to make some pressure on the big boys up there, being Chittenden County, and to change that language mostly. And I think it's going to take the folks that were in this room and us to show up to Montpelier.
I couldn't agree with you more. So thank you for the comment. So we do have to look at what we can do legislatively. What we also have to look at is what we can do administratively. So we had administration here in our city to listen to this presentation. There are things that can be done in the short term that do not take legislative change. And those are what we're asking our Department of Corrections, that's what we're asking our governor's office, the judiciary, our state's attorney's offices, to all look deeply into how they can take faster action on things that need to be processed. There are certainly cases that are misdemeanor cases that process may be a fine, or it may be a dismissal. But there are certainly cases that need a lot more attention, and we need those cases looked at as well. So we need to move through that process. The one, and we heard it tonight, the largest piece of feedback I have received is that people felt like their questions weren't asked. We did try very hard. We had over 100 questions by the time we were done, submitted. I think Senator Collmore did a fantastic job sifting through what was available and asking them in a way that hit as many points as possible through each question. However, I know people still want to be heard. And I'm going to be reaching out to Kim in the next couple of days to try to schedule the rec center for an open listening session where people can just come and talk directly to me. We won't have as big of an audience. And again, that town hall day wasn't designed to be a big listening session. It was designed to share as much information as possible with our community. So now it's our turn to be recipients of those concerns. So within the next 2 weeks, I'm hoping to do it right before Thanksgiving. I'd like to set up an event at the rec center to have people come and speak their minds, just like we heard tonight, and try to understand what the community is feeling and make sure we have an opportunity to get back to them when we can. I will likely not have all of the answers that evening, right? I brought the experts last time, so on that evening I will likely not have all the answers, but I hope that whoever would like to participate can come and ask whatever questions that they have, and that's the goal.
If I may,
Alderwoman Davis.
the one thing that kept coming up were the hotels.
Yeah.
So maybe in preparation for this, that we have some ideas about the hotels. Do we or do we not have any control of people coming and going? Do those type of things that, is this just a direct push from the state and we get what we get? Or do we have some control that we can influence over those hotels?
Absolutely. I actually did reach out already back to AHS to kind of get some questions answered on that. So we can talk about that then as well. So.
Alderwoman Hooker, sorry.
Thank you, Michael. I was disappointed and frustrated tonight, I guess, to hear people say that nothing is being done. And I think that with this next event, where people will be able to ask questions, that it be clear what some of the things are that are being done in the city. I think people just aren't aware of what's happening, and their frustration is showing. And I know, myself included, there's a lot of impatience about what can happen and how quickly it can happen. And that may be part of the problem that we're seeing here. And I hope that by enumerating the things that you've initiated and that the board is trying to do, that we can help people understand that we're really trying to solve the problems. And we may not, again, have all the answers or all the solutions, but at least they would know what's happening so that they don't feel so abandoned, I would say.
Thank you very much, Alderman.
Alderman McCann?
Yeah, thanks. In terms of transparency for the questions you did get, I'd encourage you to find a way to take everything that was submitted and make that publicly available, because it did feel like a little bit of a black box in submitting a question. You don't know if it actually got to you if you saw it, but if you were to publish that list of questions and maybe if you could break it out by the ones that were submitted before the event and then the ones that started coming after once you shared the QR code. That way people would at least know that you got eyes on it, even if they still think you didn't answer it correctly, they would know that it didn't fully get ignored.
That's a fantastic idea. I'd be happy to do that.
Alderman Gillum.
And I'm also requesting, Mayor, that we do a neighborhood report, where we've done with the streets, what we've done to help change behavior in the neighborhoods, like cleaning the streets up, putting sidewalks in, putting trees in, cleaning up bad houses, and we're going to have a couple more tonight that we're going to do. I think the public needs to know all this ground stuff that we've been dealing with, the committee, they need to hear it.
That is awesome. I can do that. Thank you.
Well, and if I may.
Sure.
I think they need to know what we can do.
Yep.
Because I think there's, and I understand their frustration. I was here years and years ago before I ran for the board with my neighborhood over an event that happened. And we felt totally dismissed by the Board of Aldermen. And I said, that'll never happen again if I sit in that chair. At least there'll be one member that's not going to dismiss the sound. But I think it's frustrating because we want to do more, but there's only so much we can do that we're charged with. And that might be helpful for them to understand. So it's not a lack of support, it's a lack of ability. I mean, I can call the legislators, and I've talked to Paul and Eric and others and said, this is what we need to do. I think we need to go to Montpelier and be loud. I think we need to push back against people floating this way into hotels that are not Rutland County, Rutland City or Rutland County. But you know, I think there are expectations that there's some things we can do that we really have no power over.
Alderman Gillum.
One more comment. Speaking of Montpelier, the most powerful tool that we can have is when Rutland Town and Rutland City sit next to each other on a subject in front of a Senate or House committee. That is powerful, and they can't tear us apart.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right.
So the nomination of Sheena Fisher to the Board of Health passes 9-0. And now I would entertain a motion to circulate the ballot box for the nomination of Dick Corsell to the Rutland Redevelopment Authority.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to circulate. It's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Sorry to interrupt you, Mayor.
Oh, totally fine. So just one more thing on the Public Safety Town Hall. I think it's important that we do recognize our citizens that are out there trying to help. We want our citizens being our eyes and ears, as was said tonight, and we said at the Town Hall. I think it's also important that our citizens pay close attention to following the laws themselves, right? It's very challenging when you're living in a community where you feel like you're helpless to do some things to fix problems that you want to fix. Everybody wants to pitch in. Everybody wants to solve. But you have to follow the rules, right? You have to follow those laws. And that's the major ask, is that we ask our citizens who are stepping up to go out and keep an eye on things, that they reach out to Project Vision to talk to them about a neighborhood watch so that they can understand what those rules are and the appropriate way to do that within the current legislation in Vermont and the tools and toolkits and skills that our officers have to work with them. So if that is something you're interested in doing a neighborhood watch, please reach out to the police department, reach out to Project Vision. You can email the city, you can email me, and I'll pass it along to the right people. The idea is that we want to enable those concerned citizens to be able to do that in the safest way to them possible. Any questions on that part? Okay, last thing. There are about 200 driveway aprons left to do. So what happens is our city will go out, we'll grind the road down, we'll pave, and then at the end of the season, we come back and we fix those driveway aprons. So where your driveway meets the road, there's about 200 of those left to do. Our DPW team is out there trying to crush through those as quickly as possible before they shut down the paving plant. But please know that if you're on that list, if you have a driveway and you need it reconnected to the roadway, that should be getting done. That should be getting done shortly, within the next few weeks, hopefully.
Alderman Gill?
So those are the projects that we've done but not completed.
Those are all, once that's done,
Okay.
that's all, right, so Park Street and
Okay.
North Street and all of those different locations. Great question.
All right, the nomination of Dick Corsell to the Rutland Redevelopment Authority passes 9-0.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations to Matt, Sheena, and Dick. Sheena and Dick Corsell could not be here tonight. They both had prior obligations, but they're looking forward to meeting with all of you at some point in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Moving on to additions and deletions to the agenda, we have a request from the police department to add disposal of city property to the agenda and a request to move the executive session to the end of the meeting. Do we have any additional deletions or additions? Alderman McCann?
Could I add a quick update as representative to the traffic committee for information only?
Yes. So as well, we have an update from the representative to the traffic committee. Any additional? I would entertain a motion to make these changes.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion, it's been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, next, reports and letters from department heads and officials. First, we have Planning and Zoning AdministratorStrniste with a recommendation for the disposition of 2 city-owned properties. Their memos and copies of the development plans on pages 1 to 6 of your packet. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. As Board President Talbot said, we have 2 city-owned properties to dispose of today, 63 Forest Street and 18 Gay Street. We'll start with 63 Forest Street, the committee-owned, or the city-owned property. Properties Committee is recommending disposing that to Mount St. Joseph Academy for $1. So for those unaware, this building is essentially imploding in on itself with asbestos issues. So a report about 5 or so years ago at this point came up with a bid of about $30,000 to $40,000 to remove the asbestos. So this property directly abuts the school. They're proposing to demolish the building with the understanding that they will have to do the remedial work for the environmental issues, and the committee, City-Owned Properties Committee found that to be fine, and they can take the environmental remediation work. So that's what we're proposing.
Alderman Gillum.
I move to authorize the sale of 63.
Suspend the rules.
Okay, suspend the rules, I'm sorry, thank you. Suspend the rules, please.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to suspend the rules. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Alderman McCann?
Is there a critical time need to suspend the rules and address this tonight as opposed to send it to committee, or?
We're running out of
It
time.
went to the City-Owned Properties Committee already.
Oh, so then,
This is,
It didn't go to a committee of the board.
Not
It went to
committee of the
city.
board.
Yes.
gotcha. Okay.
We could send it to another committee and delay the process.
No, no.
Please.
Any discussion or debate on suspending the rules? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Alderman Gillum?
I authorize the sale of 63 Forest Street to Mount St. Joseph Academy for the purchase price of $1 pursuant Section 6.2 of the Rutland City Charter, and to further authorize the mayor to sign all purchases and sales related documents.
Second.
So move.
All right, we have a motion to authorize the sale of 63 Forest Street to Mount St. Joseph Academy, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? Alderman Gillum.
Here is something that helps to change the behavior of the neighborhood, which we've been talking about all night long. We've been after this house for a long time. I know taxpayers are going to say, well, why are we giving it away? Well, you know what? I think it's best to give it away, have someone put $50,000 and clean that property up, take the hazardous material out of there, and it becomes a clean, green space. That would be great for the neighborhood. It also sets a behavior issue for that neighborhood. So this is a good deal for us.
Excellent point. Any additional discussion or debate? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, next one is 18 Gay Street. So this one, we had two applications, one from Mike Weatherby with his grandson, John Janowski. They're in attendance tonight. They also attended the City-Owned Properties Committee meeting on, I believe it was October something, 20-something. I'll just go with that. We also had another bid from Hubbard's. They were competing bids. Hubbard's came in at 12.5. Mike Weatherby came in at 7.5. After reviewing the applications, the City-Owned Properties Committee found the Hubbard bid to be incomplete, essentially. Wasn't really, they didn't really go into a whole lot of detail on what they were proposing, and didn't really answer the application thoroughly. So after careful consideration and review, and getting answers from John, the City-Owned Properties is recommending disposition to Mike Weatherby for $7,500.
I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion to suspend the rules. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And I'll move to authorize the sale of 18 Gay Street to Mike Weatherby, the purchase price of $7,500 pursuant to Section 6.2 of the Rutland City Charter, and to further authorize the mayor to sign all purchase and sales related documents.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to authorize the sale of 18 Gay Street to Mike Weatherby, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Excellent. So I have one more item on the agenda, which is next.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll just go right into it. So this is in regards to 157 State Street. I have Jesse Billadu over there in the corner. He and his, father, purchased it last year, I believe, beginning of last year, 2022. So for those unaware, we took over 157 State Street during the summer of 2021. And then in a series of city-owned property applications, we disposed this one to Jesse and his father in March of 2022. At that time, Jesse and his father were looking to make this into a 3-unit, possibly 4-unit, but because of the zoning regulations at the time, it only allowed for 2 dwelling units. Since then, July 2022, the Home Act was passed in Montpelier, which mandated, or actually 2023, my apologies. The Home Act was passed, which essentially mandates 4 dwelling units wherever there's city water and sewer. So that kind of allowed Jesse to expand his development plan, and since the development plan is included as part of the purchase and sale agreement, any modifications to the development plan has to be approved by this board. So the Building and Zoning Department is in support of the application, but in case there are any questions, Jesse is here to answer them.
Alderman Gillum?
Move to suspend the rules and take the matter up tonight.
Second.
We have a motion to suspend the rules. It has been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none? Oh,
No.
All those in favor?
Suspending the rules is not debatable. I'm sorry. I know that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Bill, are you making?
Yes, I'm going to
Go
make
for
it. I had my hand up.
Oh, didn't see it.
Approve the amended development plan for 157 State Street as presented.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the amended development plan. It's been seconded. Alderwoman
I
Davis.
have a question, and I don't know if Mr. Bilodeau can answer. We've had some concerns with properties that are expanding from 2 to, I'll say 4 units, that there's adequate parking for tenants that are off-street, appropriate.
Yeah, so that particular property has a pre-existing parking at the rear of that building.
Okay,
so,
good.
And Bill's actually our neighbor, so.
Is it next to you?
He's got his hand up, so I'll
Is
let
it
him
next
speak
to you? Yeah.
Alderman Gillum.
I can vouch for this guy because he has done a wonderful job cleaning the property up, putting brand-new footings in. I know it's delayed him because they had to put a new foundation in on one side of the building. He was dealing with some bad neighbors next door, which we no longer have. And he has worked with me, and we've got a great relationship, and that's the type of people we want in the neighborhood, would take possession of their property.
Absolutely.
Keep it clean.
I agree.
Thank you.
Alderman Barbagallo, and then Alderman McCann.
Quick question, with the going from 2 to 4 units, are you adding to the existing building, or will it be contained within the existing building?
That's a great question, and I'm actually glad it came up. So this particular property, once we started to work on the building, it actually was a 4-unit building at one time. When it was wired, it's everything split. So it's a very simple, conversion back per se. So
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Alderman McCann, and then Alderwoman Hooker.
Question for Andrew, I guess, in thinking about the potential changes in zoning that might be coming out of the Planning Commission, would what they're thinking of going forward with still kind of fit with the plan here, or might we see another change in a couple of months or a year if that changes before the project is complete?
Yeah, so I don't recall where this fits specifically within the zoning map, but wherever it will either be mixed use or an R5 district. So at the very least, it will allow 4 in the new zoning, but I do think this is a relatively decent sized lot. So there's potential you could get more units in the future. So.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Alderwoman Hooker?
Just curious to know how big the units are and what your anticipated timeline is.
Yeah, so I don't have the square footage off the top of my head, but it is a 3-story building, and the apartments are through that 3 stories. So there's 2 1-bed apartments, and then a larger. The whole first floor is a larger 3-bed apartment. So just to give you an idea. And timeline. So we're going to be back in there pretty aggressively. Late midwinter is the goal, and then I'm going to be over there a lot through next summer. So the goal is by end of next winter, or end of next calendar year, as it states in the development plan, we'd be complete. So exterior upgrades, so aesthetically pleasing, and then obviously nice. We strive to renovate nice apartments, so full renovation inside as well. So
Thank you.
I need Alderman Gillum again.
He also runs a good, clean operation. He hasn't got stuff spread all over the place. His construction site is very neat because he knows I'm living on the other side of the fence. So
He's a fan.
He's a good operator.
And I do think you've taken another city-owned property in the past. Yeah, so he has a track record of quality work here in the city.
Great. So we have a motion to approve the amended development plan for 157 State Street, and it has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Can I just ask Andrew
Yes.
a question? Where, besides the city website, are these properties listed when they come up for sale?
Yeah, so when they come up for sale, they get posted on the website. I usually try to coordinate with the RRA as well, but they were largely busy this summer. So, I try to post it in the Rutland Herald and put flyers up. We put for sale signs up at the properties themselves. So we do, and whomever has signed up to be on a mailing list, I continue to send the mass mailing to everyone. So if you are interested in city-owned properties, feel free to send me your email. But yeah, I try to connect with as many people as I can.
Very good. All right. Next, we have Treasurer Markowski with a pension update and minutes from the pension board meeting on October 12th. A committee report is included on pages 18 to 21 of your packet.
Okay, thank you. I'll be brief, but I did want to just update the board on the pension committee. We had a meeting of the committee on October 12th. We meet, we're not on a regular basis, but as needed almost, but we have been visiting with having the investment manager from Empower come in twice a year, just keeping an eye on investments and where we're at there. We also have the actuary in once a year talking about funding levels and whatever. The pension board for the city pension is comprised of 5 members of the Board of Aldermen, 4 school commissioners, and I serve as chair under the charter. So I'm not going to give a lot of details. The high level that the investment manager does is sometimes difficult for all of us, but I want to just hit a couple of the highlights of that. When I was looking at the numbers, we had a report from June 30. At that time, the pension balance was about $103 million. The market has not been kind. I also included the September numbers, and that was just under $100 million. So, I mean, we're just weathering through the market, really. But some important things that every time we meet with the investment manager is the asset allocation. That's the objective that we want. For this plan, we know we have a very long-term objective, but we have a balanced approach of 40% fixed income, 60% equities. That has been in place for quite some time. And since I've been on the pension board, there's been discussion when the market's in a rally, hey, should we get a little bit more exposure to that equity? But the pension board and with the investment manager has really stayed with that. And the reason I bring that up is we talk so much about that unfunded liability and meeting the needs of the pensioners, so that when you have that allocation, that 40% keeps the pension in a position where we have enough in stable fixed income to be able to meet the needs of the pensioners for a 5-year term. So we're not in a position where when the market is down that we have to sell equities to raise cash. So those are important things that when we meet with the investment manager that I wanted to share with the board, because I think this time we had a lot of discussion about recession and what changes for the portfolio. And sometimes we just have to be patient, stay the course, recognize that we have a very long-term objective. And we also go through the portfolio, what the holdings are. I know There are two funds, a relatively low position for the total portfolio, but two funds that they continue to watch. So they keep in contact with us on that with regular reporting, but I will make sure that these minutes are posted on the website, and I know that I'm behind on getting those. When we switched from the old website to the new website, the older minutes didn't come on, so I'll get those out there for everyone. But I did want to report out that we have been meeting and just the status of the pension and how it looks, and really thank the board for the commitment. I know when you look at that budget, there's a line item of over $1 million to make up for the unfunded pension liability. That's a big impact to the taxpayers. So that in total, in that budget, there's $1.5 million for pension. That's a big number. So I really, I think that with the 1% and the commitment to the board, that's going to be a big positive for the pension fund. So.
Any questions from the board for Treasurer Markowski? Seeing none, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next up is City Clerk Capusta with a request to refer discussion of elections to the Charter and Ordinance Committee.
The location of elections has been a big topic of discussion in the clerk's office. I'd like the opportunity to discuss the location of elections, and elected ward workers would like to be in attendance to provide their input. Therefore, I respectfully request the Board of Aldermen to refer to Charter and Ordinance Committee the discussion of location for elections.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so we have a request to refer the discussion of election locations to Charter and Ordinance. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Alderman Gillum.
Is this time sensitive for the town meeting day, or is this for next year's primaries and presidential?
I would like it to possibly be for March, but I would take August.
Alderman McCann.
Is the issue about accessibility or size or
One of the places that we use is changing the way how they're asking us to pay.
Oh, gotcha.
And they've increased the amount quite a bit. So we've been talking about different ways of how we could try to alleviate that.
Okay, thanks.
Alderman McClure.
The question I had is probably better saved for a committee meeting.
All those in favor of referring?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have City Attorney LaChance with a request for proposal for outside legal services. There's a copy of the request on pages 23 to 25 of your packet.
Yes, thank you, everyone. So as you are probably aware, it's been past practice to go and look for experts in certain legal areas that the city attorney might not have the best expertise for, or simply doesn't have the time to handle. As you're aware, we do get quite a few cases. There is a line item in our budget for this every year. However, in order to reduce some of the costs, it is to the department's benefit to look for RFPs for outside legal services to see if we can get better deals from certain firms, compare rates, so we can sort of get the most for our money on that. Some firms, if we can do a contract with them, are willing to give a lower legal rate, which will overall save the city some money and help alleviate some of those budget costs as well. So just requesting that I be allowed to send that out so we can try and make that happen.
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second.
So we have a motion to suspend the rules. It's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And I'll move to approve the request to seek proposals for qualified law firms to provide general legal services to the city and related various areas of practice.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion. It's been seconded. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. And next we have the police department's request to dispose of city property. Chief Kilcullen.
Well, thank you. So this request is to dispose a 2014 Police Interceptor sedan with about 100,000 miles on it. We acquired it new, and it's been repurposed a few times. It was initially a patrol vehicle, and after 3 years into the charter, we typically replace those vehicles. It became either detective or admin car for a number of years. Most recently, it was assigned to our community resource specialist, and then we started experiencing some significant repair expenses and decided not to put the money into the car. Right now, it most recently needed a steering rack and wasn't sure when that would become available. Ultimately, we purchased a new vehicle using money that the city had gotten from the hotels. So that's been replaced. So we're looking to dispose of that car now. Over the last half dozen years or so, we've had offers from scrap yards for anywhere from $50 to about $1,500, and so the offer on this was $500. So my request is to dispose of that for $500 to Brown's, scrap the car, and then use that money, place that money into the equipment replacement fund.
I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second.
We have a motion to suspend the rules, which has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And I'll move for the approval to dispose of the 2014 Ford Police Interceptor to Brown Salvage for $500.
Second.
So we have a motion. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Alderman Gillum?
To add to that, it goes to the back.
And the money to the equipment replacement fund.
Very good. Further discussion or debate on the motion to dispose of city property? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Moving on to reports of standing committees, we have Alderwoman Davis with a report from the Public Safety Committee meeting of October 25th. There's a copy of the report on page 26 of your packet.
So the Public Safety Committee met October 25th. Members present were Alderman Copley, Gillum, Taddeo, McClure, and Chairman Davis. Also present were Mayor Dundas, Chief Lovett, Chief Kilcullen, President Talbot, Alderman Barbagallo, and employees of the Building and Zoning Department, Mike, Mark, and Rhonda. The discussion was squatters, garbage, furniture, unregistered vehicles, unexpected vehicles, etc. This meeting was more of a discussion as to the issues above and how they were being addressed and what is the process to resolve the blight in the neighborhoods. The committee feels that the enforcement was necessary to maintain the quality of life in neighborhoods and deter this crime. The process is the department is made aware of a concern. They go and verify that it exists. A letter is then sent to the owner of the property with a time frame to resolve with an attached photo of the violation. There is first a notice sent, then a follow-up continues if no action is taken, which can lead to fines and liens on the property. The fines can be up to $50 per day, and they are issued as a municipal ticket and can lead to further court action. The department stated their frustration of being unable at times to locate property owners as they are absentee landlords. A discussion was held on how we can obtain more information, contact when the closing occurs. The committee was appreciative of the work being done by the city and asked how we can help. The Board of Health is being reestablished, updated ordinance as needed, and they would refer those. And if you, and report a concern on the city website. If you see something, say something. So there was really, the only action that was taken by the committee, and I failed to put this in here and I apologize, was that to help the Building and Zoning Department was to refer to the city attorney what information can be gathered at a closing or when they file the deed for better contact information for building and zoning, because they feel like they're, you know, they get a phone number and it's not who it should be. There's an email address, it's not connected. So there needs to be, I'm not sure what length we can go to, hence the referral to the city attorney. And I think if Attorney LaChance works with the Building and Zoning Department, they'll be able to share what information they feel that they're lacking. And so I will move that motion.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to refer to the city attorney, I guess, to research means to seek contact info from property owners during real estate transactions?
Correct.
Okay, very good, and that's been seconded. Alderwoman McClure.
I was the maker of that motion, so thank you to Alderwoman Davis for remembering. I just wanted to put in there, I believe what we had discussed as well was not only to check in with the city attorney and see what exact information we could gather, but I believe it was also to then mandate, once that information is gathered, and what we do require to mandate that multiple forms of contact be provided.
That's correct.
I just wanted to make sure that that was sent home.
Okay, so it's been amended. Alderman Gillum?
And I agree with all this, and I think we need to do is follow the same plight as the Secretary of State does. When they have an LLC, a lot of these homes in my neighborhood are under LLCs. They need to put the registered agent when they file these documents, so we have someone we can go get to make sure things happen.
Agreed. Planning and Zoning AdministratorStrniste has a comment or a question.
Yes, so sorry I couldn't attend this meeting. I was actually at a planning commission meeting, but I wanted to attend. Just to piggyback off of that a little bit, referred to a committee a couple weeks ago was the possibility of having rental registration or having units register as well. So we might be able to get at the contact information that way as well.
Very good. Alderman Gillum?
And I think through our discussion, things are already happening, and unfortunately, people are not here tonight to hear that these things are starting to happen. The Board of Health will give us some teeth so we can go after some of these landlords, or behavior issues in properties, like not putting the garbage in the right place and not taking the containers back, things like that. All those deal with attitude adjustment in the neighborhood, which curbs crime.
I'm agreeing with you all night, Alderman Gillum.
Yep.
All right. All those in favor of the referral?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Alderwoman Davis. Reports of representatives. We have Alderman McCann with a report from the Traffic Committee.
Thank you. The Traffic Committee met on October 20th, I believe it was, and I just want to give an update that the issue of the winter parking ban was discussed. The committee generally agreed that there is room for improvement related to how we manage on-street parking in the winter to avoid unneeded reduction in parking capacity and unneeded parking citations. Committee members and AdministratorStrniste agreed to research how other communities put alternate side parking ordinances or weather event-based parking controls into effect and how manageable those practices are. This issue is expected to be discussed further at future meetings. It was noted that this issue is likely connected to the green space parking and driveway ordinance topics that are currently sitting in other committees as well.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions for Alderman McCann? All right. Seeing none. Reports of select committees. We have Alderman Barbagallo with a report from the Parking Committee meeting of November 1st. A copy is on pages 27 and 28 of your packet.
And there will be a change to this report. I will explain it when I get to that area of it. The meeting was called to order at 5 p.m. In attendance were Committee Chair Barbagallo, committee members Alderman McCain, Alderman McClure, Department of Public Works Commissioner Bob Provansky, and Police Chief Kilcullen. Also in attendance were Mayor Dunges, President Talbot, Alderman Capoli, Tom Franzoni, and City Treasurer Mary Markowski and Officer Rosario. Discussion was had about replacing the parking meters and kiosks. Presently, we have 9 kiosks and 279 meters serving the city. All are in need of replacement or retrofitting. Discussion was also had about the use of the mobile park app that will be going into effect soon. The mobile app will be able to be used anywhere in the city. After a discussion with the Commissioner of Public Works, Bob Provansky, and Tom Franzoni, we have chosen to recommend to the full board to go with retrofitting the existing equipment instead of purchasing new. To retrofit a kiosk will cost about $3,500 per unit. The same housing would be used, but all of the interior workings would be replaced. The kiosk would still be a touch-tone screen and would accept coins, credit, and debit cards. A decision was made to retrofit 1 kiosk on both Merchants Row and 1 on Center Street, and these will be the kiosks that, after a study, are used the most in these locations, to start and see how they are received by the public and how well they will hold up under constant use. All 9 kiosks will be adjusted to the new parking meter fees approved by the full board at a previous meeting. The retrofit of all city meters was also discussed. Previously stated, there are 279 meters in the city. A discussion was had to eliminate the meters on Cottage Street and just have signage at this location for mobile app usage only to park here. These meters are the least used meters in the city and it was felt we could forego installing new meters at this location to save money. Other areas of the city will be discussed at a future meeting to determine if it's a good idea to retrofit meters, replace them with kiosks, or simply make certain areas mobile park usage only. The cost to retrofit a single meter is about $275. At this time, the meters would also be numbered to facilitate better inventory and repair procedures. This would include rehabbing the head, new internal mechanisms, and repairing or installing poles to mount the meters on as necessary. It was pointed out by Officer Rosario that collecting money from the kiosks is much simpler than collecting money from the meters. It was still felt that meters are better served in some locations of the city instead of kiosks. At a previous board meeting, $100,000 of ARPA money has been set aside to pay for the retrofit of this equipment. Currently, the parking meter fund is running at a deficit, so no money is available to use from it. After authorization by the board for purchase of new equipment, it will take 6 to 8 weeks to receive the equipment. A motion was made to authorize the retrofit of 2 kiosks at a cost not to exceed $5,000 each, and all kiosks to be updated with the new parking rates. 1 retrofitted kiosk will be installed on both Merchants Row and 1 on Center Street. ARPA funds would be used for the purchase, and I so move.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to authorize the retrofit of 2 kiosks not to exceed $5,000 each, 1 on Merchants Row and 1 on Center. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Alderman McCann.
I'll just clarify a little semantics there. So the 2 new kiosks that we're asking for are touch screen as opposed to having the buttons which are part of the
not new kiosks.
The retrofitted components for the existing 2 kiosks we're talking about.
That's correct. They will be a touch screen.
Yeah, so instead of I think the buttons were part of the issue with the new ones gumming up, not holding up to the weather. So we're hopeful that the touchscreen will just sort of fare better.
Important clarification, thank you. Any additional discussion or debate on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, this is where the portion of the report will change. A second motion was referred to retrofit. At the time, the motion said up to 200 meters and purchase of spare parts to the full Board of Financing using proper purchasing requirements. I had a discussion with Bob Pravansky this morning, and he informed me that upon research, if we purchase 201 or more meters, there is a significant rate reduction in the amount it will cost to retrofit these meters. So I would like to change the motion to state that we purchase more than 201 meters and purchase spare parts and refer this to the full Board of Finance using proper purchasing requirements, and I so move.
Second.
All right, so the motion is to purchase more than 201 meters.
201 or more.
201 or more, all right? So we have a motion to refer the retrofit of 201 or more meters and purchase of spare parts to the Board of Finance. It's been seconded. Alderman Gillum.
What was the number amount? What's the difference?
I can't remember right off the top of my head, Bill, but it was a good amount. I put in $275. The original price he was quoting me was $260, but I went to $275 because I wanted there to be money available for poles, straightening up labor to install these. I think the new numbers are down around $210. I can't swear to it, but it's a savings to the community. Even at these prices, with the purchase of 9 kiosks and 200 meters, we're only coming in at about $86,500. So we're still under the $100,000 that we've allotted. So I think we're in good shape.
Good job. Thank you.
I'm confused. You just mentioned purchasing 9 kiosks.
We're purchasing 2 right now as a test to see how well they hold up.
Just to clarify, we're retrofitting.
Retrofit,
to
I'm sorry.
existing kiosks.
I'm sorry.
Just want to make sure
My
the public
mistake.
understands
My
what we're doing.
mistake, yes, retrofit.
No one wants to buy more kiosks.
No.
Alderwoman McClure.
Just for clarification, as I sat in on this meeting, and I was actually the one who made this motion too, what Alderman Barbagallo is trying to say is, yes, the plan is to retrofit 2 of the kiosks, the plan to be 201 meters for purchase, so that way we can get that extra sweet meter deal. And I believe what he's saying here is to think forward if we were to choose to update further kiosks, but currently the motion in the plan is for only retrofitting of 2.
I misunderstood. Thank you. Alderwoman Davis.
How many do we have now in the kiosks? How many?
We have 9 kiosks.
We have 9.
9.
So has there been any discussion, and maybe this is a little different, about taking the kiosk off a street and putting it in a lot?
Yes, we have discussed that to remove, because at the previous meeting, we discussed putting meters back on both Merchants Row and Center Street, but not doing Center Street until after the revitalization is done down there, because we don't want to waste money putting them in, having to dig them up again, and then put them back in again. And then the kiosks, which are retrofitted, we talked about putting in on the lot on Whale Street, the lot on State Street, up by the courthouse, and any other lot, and possibly even up by the courthouse at the top of Center Street Hill.
That just makes more sense to me.
And that may possibly end up being an area that we will do another mobile app site only.
Okay.
But these are discussions for a future meeting.
Sure, absolutely.
Alderwoman McClure.
Just to speak on that as well, some discussion was had during that meeting about the quality of some of the existing kiosks prior to retrofit and if they would survive a move. So that is part of that conversation. If they were to move to a different lot, they've been out in the elements for about 8 or 9 years. If they can survive, they would be potential candidates to move, but that quality assessment is forthcoming.
Yeah.
Very good. So we have a motion to refer the retrofit of 201 meters or more on purchase of spare parts to the Board of Finance. It's been seconded. Any additional discussion or debate? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. President?
I'm not done, but if you want to go ahead, go ahead.
Go ahead, Alderman
Oh,
Gillum.
you got some more? Okay.
Just a little bit, one paragraph.
Well, I just want to ask you a question. I know this is going back in time here. Are we doing free parking during Christmas, or we have not discussed that?
That has not been discussed, and I know
from
we have done it in the past, like you,
Thanksgiving
I've been
to
around a
Christmas
while too,
Eve,
Bill,
yeah.
but it has not been discussed, and I don't know who we would have to discuss that with. If we would do it as a board.
Would you like to make a motion to refer that discussion to committee?
Partnership.
Partnership, send that to partnership with their recommendation back to us.
Okay. Very good.
I'll second that.
All right, so we have a motion to refer discussion of free downtown parking during holidays.
Just from Thanksgiving to Christmas Eve.
From Thanksgiving to Christmas Eve to the downtown partnership. It's been seconded. Any discussion on the referral? Alderwoman McClure.
I find myself hesitant to support sending this to the partnership specifically, just because it seems that there is a slight disconnect for some people under the assumption that the partnership is an entity controlled by the city and not a business improvement district entity as it exists. And I worry about further parking complaints within the downtown being directed at the DRP in which circumstances where they may not have control. I would recommend personally a motion to refer this to the parking committee with an invitation to the DRP to be present, but not to put it in their hands first. It's not fair to them as they are not a governing of the parking.
Alderman Gill?
I'm okay with that, but I've been down this road before with the business people. Make sure you got the business people there and they got their input. So that if you're gonna do the meeting, make sure what she says, invite them in, yes.
Does that mean you're willing to
I'm willing to let that.
amend your motion?
Friendly amendment. Yes.
Friendly amendment, Alderwoman Davis, and then Alderwoman McClure again.
So, I'm supportive. I just don't know if I'm supportive for a month. And the only reason I say that is because the parking meter fund is
I know, that's very.
It's in a deficit.
You know, so I support it, but maybe we could go from like December 1st to the 25th or something to that effect. You know, just to, I mean, I don't want to be the Scrooge of the board, but I just think it's a long,
And I'll yield to your knowledge, Sharon. Do you know how this was adopted in the past? Was it through just the board approving it, or?
I think it was the board.
Yeah, I think we just approved it and then noticed, I mean, the police department is the one that's gonna ticket. So if there's, you know, no ticketing, then you got your free ride. And then the Herald does some announcement that, you know, parking is free in downtown Rutland from X to X.
Alderman Gillum, are you willing to amend your motion to be a discussion of free holiday parking?
Sure.
And keep the dates out of it?
Sure, yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, yeah.
Does the seconder agree? I don't know who the second is. Great.
Yes.
All right, Alderwoman McClure.
To Alderman Gillum's point, as the representative to the DRP, I will make sure I work closely with the executive director of the partnership to get that information shared. But also as a member of the parking committee, I would just like to suggest to the full board here, I worry that a full 25 stay on parking, free parking for a full 25 days, right in the inception of Park Mobile, something that we will be piloting during this holiday season. I very much worry that that may be an unwise choice and very well could skew the numbers when we review them in the future regarding the usage of Park Mobile. That's almost a month when we're rolling out new parking to then not use it. I feel like that is an unwise choice, and I just wanted to share that with the full board. And
Very good. I hope
Alderman
you will
Gillum for saying that.
reiterate that sentiment at the committee meeting.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think a comment should come up at the committee.
Very good. So we have a motion to refer. It's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And to continue on, with the adoption of Park Mobile coming in about 2 weeks, it was felt that some sort of education program about the usage of this app be put forward. Discussion was had, and much of what is needed to know is listed on the app itself. The meeting ended at 6:15.
And I believe the executive director of the partnership has already reached out to you or to the mayor or to someone asking about how they can help publicize Park Mobile and how it works.
I believe so, and I believe there was signage that was mentioned. I haven't seen it or seen any samples of it yet, but that's going to have to be coming.
Alderwoman McClure?
Signage is forthcoming. We are awaiting on delivery, just remembering from that meeting, and the executive director of the partnership did reach out to me after that meeting to reach out and ask what she could do to help.
Very good. Next, we have petitions, letters, and miscellaneous communications. On page 29 of your packet, you'll find a copy of the Christmas truck parade route, and this is for informational purposes only. Board of Control Commissioners, we have nothing on the agenda. Board of Cannabis Commissioners, we have a license renewal for Mountain Girl Cannabis. There's a memo and a copy of the state approval on pages 30 to 32 of your packet.
Receive and place on file on the report.
Do we have to sign these?
I don't think so.
Do we have to sign these?
No.
No. So,
I
but
just
we
have to provide
approve.
them in the minutes. I just have to provide them the minutes that we've
Okay.
approved it.
We have to
CC all that. That's at state level.
Yeah, I have to get back to the
We do, right?
board, yeah.
So we need to approve their license renewal.
All right, so I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion to suspend the rules has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Mayor Dungus?
I hate to be technical, but we have to go into the board.
I was just gonna say that. We gotta
I
go with a
appreciate that.
special
Thank you.
board.
Yeah, we're not used to that.
Okay, so strike the motion to suspend the rules.
I'll move to go into the Board of Cannabis.
Second. Very cloudy on the issue here.
Commissioners.
So we have a motion from Alderwoman Davis to go into the Board of Cannabis Commissioners.
Second.
It has been seconded by Alderwoman Hooker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We're now in the Board of Cannabis
So
Commissioners.
I don't know, do I need to suspend the rules in here?
Don't believe so.
don't
That's
think
not
so.
a
It's like
rule of the
liquor
Board of
license.
Aldermen, so I'll
Let's
just
do it
move the-
anyway, just so we don't screw up.
So I'll move to suspend the rules.
Second.
A motion to suspend the rules has been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And I'll move for the approval of the cannabis license renewal for Mountain Girl Cannabis.
Second.
So the motion to approve the license of Mountain Girl Cannabis has been seconded. Any discussion?
Point of order, are we supposed to also accept the inspection report, part of that motion?
Oh, I just wanted to provide that to you to let you know that they have
Oh,
done
okay,
their
so it's just information for
Yes.
us. Thank you.
All right. Very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Motion to go out of Cannabis Commissioners?
moved.
Second.
We have a motion to go out of the Cannabis Commissioners. It's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to unfinished business. Any unfinished business? Alderwoman McClure?
I would like to bring up under unfinished business. It seems that Project Vision's monthly meetings are not on the city calendar, and I just wanted to put that on somebody's radar. If we could get those meetings there the second Thursday of every month, first Thursday, I can get that back to you in an email to
I'm sure that we
specify
can do
that.
that.
Perfect.
Very good.
And I would like to put in there as well that they are occasionally catered for anybody who would like to come. I'm very happy to announce that Hand Carved by Ernie has made a very generous donation for meals for our service providers for this month's meeting.
Excellent. Any other unfinished business? That brings us to miscellaneous motions, resolutions, and new business. Alderwoman Davis.
So if I'd like to refer, I sent an email to the chief and John, I just sent it to you for traffic committee. A constituent reached out to me in regards to a stoplight at Lafayette and Woodstock Avenue, and explains the concerns that she has in the email. So I'll just like to refer that to traffic.
Very good. So we have a motion to refer discussion of a traffic signal at Lafayette and Woodstock to the traffic committee.
Second.
It's been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Any other miscellaneous motions, resolutions, or new business? Alderman Gillum.
I want to refer the, to traffic committee, the light on Main Street and Park Street. The right lane red light should be green when the train is coming across, so traffic can move out of that street. That's been a big issue for UPS and others trying to get out of there. It backs it all up. And we're going to be paving that next year, so I think we need to start having that discussion.
Very good. So motion to refer discussion of the traffic signal at South Main and Park to the traffic committee. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Alderman McCann.
Would that not be part of Public Works?
No.
No?
No, I think
No, it's
because it's
traffic.
dealing with lights, it's your deal.
It deals with the right on red.
It's a right on red, yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Right now, there's no right on red.
Gotcha. Okay.
Any additional discussion on the referral? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Any additional miscellaneous motions, resolutions, or new business?
I just want to say, whoever took all those things out of Merchants Row, the crosswalk, I am extremely grateful. Thank you.
Alderman McCann?
So there was discussion earlier from the mayor about a neighborhood watch. A lot of concerned citizens in here, obviously explaining how they are, trying to sort of take matters into their own hands, and also a concern that they're not being heard. There was suggestion that they go to Project Vision or some other meetings, but I'm wondering if we have an opportunity to have a meeting that is about community watch sorts of things, neighborhood watch sorts of things, in a sort of advertised specific discussion agenda item. So maybe referring to the Public Safety Committee, a discussion on how our community could possibly incorporate a neighborhood watch formalized, even though it may live under a different organization, give members of the public an opportunity to come to a public meeting about it.
Alderwoman McClure?
Thank you. Speaking as co-chair of Project Vision, I can very happily say that we actually had a conversation about that this week, and the tools that we have in Rutland City through our PD, through Project Vision, to help support people in that of a neighborhood watch. In lieu of referring a committee meeting, I would actually like to personally invite Public Safety Chair Alderwoman Davis to a conversation with myself and the team at Project Vision to really talk about what we have available before we go ahead and schedule that meeting, just so as Public Safety Chair, she has that information going into that future meeting, and then refer that to a committee meeting, perhaps at our next meeting or the meeting after, but hopefully the next one. So.
Well, if I may, I think we can refer. I probably will not schedule right away due to the fact that we're now in budget, and that is going to take some priorities over some things. So it'll be a juggling of time to get done. I think what I'd like to do is, if the board's agreement, is to wait. As long as the mayor is going to have a meeting at the college, I would prefer to wait till that meeting happens, because then I think we can gather more information, possibly that's not getting resolved, that maybe can be locally. We know a lot of it is going to be changing laws, which is not under our capabilities, but I think we can refer tonight, and I'll just sit on it until after Mike has his meeting, and then we'll go from there, if that's all right with that.
Very good. Alderman McCann?
Yeah, I'm totally okay with that. I just think, there were a lot of concerns raised tonight, and, we voted on, or we discussed a lot of things that we have been working on that may be flying under the radar, but this is one thing we can do to let people know that we heard them, and we want to take some new step tonight from what they brought to us.
Absolutely.
Alderwoman Leclerc.
And again, Alderwoman Davis, I do strongly encourage you to meet with myself and the team from Vision. That way we can
It'll have
discuss
to
that
be
prior to the meeting.
Absolutely, just have to be, I don't make the project visit meetings because they're during working
I,
hours.
no, that is also an issue that will be getting handled later on. Very happy to be
But
working
I'll be
on
glad
that.
to.
Definitely. This would
You
probably
reach out
be
with some times to
definitely.
me and I'll work it in.
You two can figure that out
That's
after
right.
this meeting. I'd entertain Alderwoman Hooker.
Just kudos to the Recreation Department and anybody else who had anything to do with the Halloween parade. It was great fun.
It was fun, yeah.
And we got many, many cheers as the representatives from the Board of Aldermen led the parade. I didn't know if it was for us or just the fact that the parade was starting. That was okay. And to whomever cleaned up afterwards, it was fabulous
Right.
the next morning. So
That was
thank
Public
you.
Works that came in
Public
afterwards.
Works, absolutely.
Awesome.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
No, don't we have
Executive session.
Executive session.
So I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
We got certain motions.
Do you want to read
so moved and a
the
second.
language? Do you have the language?
Let me see if I do have the language.
Normally,
Looking for where I put it. Thank you. So it's a motion to enter into executive session.
Hold on. Can we be quiet
Sorry.
so Attorney LaChance can read the language? Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not that loud. So it's a motion to go enter into executive session to discuss wage increases for sworn police officers.
So moved.
You all paying
Second.
attention?
Yes.
Do we
Second.
move that or do we second it?
Both.
Second.
I'll even move it.
Gordon has to leave.
Hope you got that. So someone moved it and someone seconded it.
And now
All
Gordon
those in
has to
favor?
leave.
Aye.
Has to leave.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Attorney LaChance, is there any additional motion for this one? Or just the single motion?
With the chief.
Get out, Gordon.
I'm waiting.
I feel like we usually have two, but I don't know.
Yeah, to get,
I'm sorry. Yes. I don't remember what order I've done this in, so,
yeah, usually there are two components
Correct.
that we vote on and we've only done one so far.
yes.
Okay.
And that was to enter the executive session. So then the following motion would be to enter negotiation on the contract, if I'm remembering that correctly. I didn't write it down, sorry.
I motion to move into negotiations for the contract.
I'm reluctant to do it until we can get the language right.
That sounds fair.
I have it in a prior list here somewhere, but I would need to find.
I know, because
Just had it. What'd I do?
Do you want to?
We'll take, I don't want to take a recess because you all wander away and start
Okay, all
talking
right.
and I'll never get to start again.
oh, Lord.
All right, a motion to find that premature general public knowledge regarding the negotiation of a contract would clearly place the city at a substantial disadvantage because the discussion will divulge the board's position on the agreement provisions to be negotiated. Does that
So
sound
moved.
correct?
Yes, thank you.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion, it's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And motion to enter into executive session with the inclusion of the mayor, the police chief, the treasurer, the clerk, and city attorney to discuss an agreement as allowed under Title I, Section 313A1B.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.